Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to a long anticipated video that the only guy who suggests that is myself because I really want to do this. I will make it into a series. So red is the first color to have a legendary. If I mean white is supposed to be the first, but I don't have any card for white, so I have like not enough legendaries for white. That's what I mean. So we do for red first because I have most of them. The one that I'm missing is UAE, um, David, and I remember that all. That's is all. But I have used two of these cards before. I have traded them from a guy who let me borrow them for like 5 days before he take it back. So let me see what's in the ocean first. Cool. So yeah, let's do this. So this is tier. Look through it. Yeah, get it. Alright, so I will start from card from like the section of the wiki. So first, Asura. Asura, I put her at a low B because here's okay. Here's the problem with Asura. She is an 8 cost card, aka she's supposed to be a finisher at most, and a very big support card at like max. But she herself is a 1,200, 600 damage. Now when she used to be a 1,300, 800 damage, she was kind of good because she actually have stat. But now with this stat equal to Voltas, she's kind of underpowered, and she's not only half the opponent's health, but half your guy's health, which may not be the thing that affect you the most because red already have very low health. But every health counts, and you have their health. It's just weird. Like she's just a weird legendary. I think the only way you can really fix her is to give her to 1,800 to 2,000 HP, and give her stealth and make her damage 750. That would probably make her into a very viable legendary actually. But for now, she's just a B tier in my card, in my opinion. Next, a Phi from instant B, low B to instant A, like the force in it. A Phi, I don't know how to say her name. Okay, Alive, a Phi. I'll say her Phi is oh well, is a near S tier card. Okay, she's very close to S tier. But I have to put her in A because she could sometimes be very hard to get out because she actually a very expensive card. Red usually have very expensive legendary. But you get her out, she's a big ass big stick, beat stick, that even draws you a card and buff another of your guy. Like you could even use it on herself. Like play her alone and then buff herself. It's actually what most people did in Control Red. You know what Control Red is? It's a deck that I call it Control Red, but it's probably mid-range red because they don't play anything but just discard their hand until they have like around a decent amount of icons, and when they saw too much guys, start wiping them with their breath like Red Run and Robotic Mob. They started wiping your guys, and then they started playing these very huge legendary, just can't do anything about it because they discard their hand like every turn, so they have their icon up pretty decently quick. And a fight is a pretty big part of it. But she's put a big stat, draw a card, and she gonna stall you for a decent amount of turn. If not, that's not all. She would actually buff another guy, or buff herself. So she's a pretty decent card in one of the most meta-ish deck in the game. So I put her in A. Next, Alcalola. So I put him. Oh wait, no. This is supposed to be the order. Yep, I put him as a low A because he's actually a very good card. Like when you read his ability, it seems trash. Oh yeah, forget to put corrupt soul search in. Fuck. So corrupt soul search, if I ever rate him, he'll probably be a C that is like low C. Okay, so corrupt soul search is a low C tier card. Say it right here. Okay, so Akola is a very cheap card. It's a little three yellow card. It was 3 yellow, and you must use him in a deck where you have yellow, because if not, then you're not going to summon the guy. But you do, he is a mini wipe almost every turn. Like just play him alone, maybe play some extra guy. I don't care. But this guy very kills swarm like nobody business. They make a kill a lot of swarm, very tanky, and even have haste. So there's a lot of guys have 150 less health. Bam, they're all dead, and also deal 100 damage to all fighters. So he actually a pretty good card. Also generates. He's not inert, and he looks cool as a card. So I put him as a low A because his ability is not too useful, but for the price, it's actually good. Next, Asimo. Asimo put him as a high B tier card because Asimo have get a rework. See, Asimo used to is of had the same cost, 1000 HP, 500 damage. That have a when he casts, he do 500 damage to a target fighter, and then when he dies, he draw 2 cards. They reworked him so that he's more of a support card for legendaries deck. So he have a haste, and now whenever you cast a legendary fighters, he will get transformed, and his form will not be his form can't be counterattacked. So when you play this guy, he instantly is a 300 damage, can't be counterattack, leave a guy on the field for a pretty expensive price. So so you could buff him with your damage buff in red, which have a decent amount, and then you could use the not counterattack thing to your advantage. But the thing is, you need to feed him legendary card every turn. You need every turn to have a legendary card available in play if you want to have the most out of the guy. And that's not very easy. Like, that's not too easy. When you get enough icon, it is easy, but when you don't, it's just very hard. And red needs card draw, and he's actually used to be a very decent card draw when he died. Draw 2 cards, like 2 cards, not 1. So he's good for card draw at that point, but now he's kind of shit at drawing cards because he's not gonna draw anything. And his 500 damage breath, it's like Nim. Like the only one Nim is a B tier, B plus above Asimo, because his breath, the breath of the of this thing, I don't know if it's he or her, probably he, of this thing is very good. Like 500 damage is amazing. So Asimo, high B tier card. Next, okay, so next, Cindering, I put him as a low B tier card. He's almost C tier because Burn has been killed. Like, Burn has been killed so badly that every Burn card is kind of shit now, including Cindering. Cindering is a Burn legendary, and look at his ability. It's a 6 red, which means pretty damn. He as expensive as Has. Has is a good card, but he's not really that good. He'll have 600 damage, 600 health, which is not like, it's actually comparable to Grand Glyceum Mage. Yeah, this thing, this man right here. It's comparable to Ignis Mage as well. Have an ability that do not affect the board in any way. Just affect your opponent. When your opponent has 600 life, yeah, he's good. He's probably the best legendary in the game at that point. But when it's not really that good. And his haste, it's some value, like 600 damage haste. That's just amazing. But he's a bit expensive for what he do. Well, not the most viable card in the game. I put him as low C for that reason. Next, Clan Atlas is no longer a legendary, so he's not on this list. David Bazuki. So David, I put him as a low A, but higher than Akola does, because his ability is actually very decent. So you don't know what his ability is. I will show you right here. So he's a 4 cost 5 red. That's pretty expensive, but 4 cost white is okay. but 5 reds, you could discard card and getting. And when you play him, he get 400 power. 400 power for each fighter you're putting. So even if you're putting fighter control like one guy, he still have 1,500 HP and 400 damage. That's not the worst stat in the world. Although he's a bit expensive and he's not inert, okay? But as long as you're just get 2, his stat become amazing. Like it's 1,100 to 800. Like he just kills most things. And when you're putting control 4 or above, makes damage very high. Though the thing is, you need to purposely put yourself as at a disadvantage if you want to use him. So that's why I put him low B. He's a very good card. It's just his expensiveness and his ability in require you to put yourself at disadvantage, somewhat of a disadvantage to work properly. I put him as a low A tier. Next, Dr. King. Dr. King is a high A tier card. He's a 7 white. Oh yeah, I don't have Dr. King too as well. Forget about that. He's a 7 white, 1 red. Very cheap. Just kidding. He's not cheap. But you could cast him pretty early in the game if you saw a swarm. And you only need to discard 1 card. Like just 1 card and you already have King available. And when he casts, he deals an excessive amount of damage to your opponent. He basically like a barcode in a nutshell. Like barcode is a very decent card, and now you just have a way bigger version of it. I mean, this 50 damage could sometimes do a lot more than you think. And although he end your turn, like okay, so after you play Dr. King, what can you play after Dr. King? Like you already spent 7 of your whites. You just enter at that point, so it's basically just not like just auto end a turn for you, so you don't have to press the enter button yourself. And also put a pretty decent stat on the field, like 800, 700. Man, that's very decent stat. So Dr. King is a high A tier card. He's a wipe, and he's kind of cheap for what he do because he's only cost white. He not cost that much red. So yeah, high A tier card. Next is Eclipse. Eclipse, I put on the mid tier B plus card because he's very situational, and he's could sometimes be the one from the worst thing in the web. Like he's a 3 cost that doesn't do anything until you have like just like a slither health left. But when you do cast him, 500 health less, he's instantly like he just have haste, more than 2,000 HP and deal 1,600 damage. And you return to your. If you watch my video where you make a deck, I make a deck around him so that I will take fatigue. I just start the game taking fatigue damage, heal myself up with meeps, and then a green heal card, and then I will get exactly 500 or less life. I play this guy. I return him to my hand with my Tom Beans here, Tom Beans. I play him again. I accumulate all, and then play him and have another haste, unlock himself, and it just OTK their field because I wiped them before I do all of that. So it's actually a very good card. You could play a deck around him. It's just that he's extremely situational. So that's why I will put him as a low B plus card. Yeah, changed my mind. Next, X-Sign. X-Sign put him as a mid tier B card because he's a good card of all. Like if there's no other card that have this ability, he would automatically move up a tier from a B to B plus, and probably be a mid-range B plus card at that point. But the thing is, there is not one but 2 other cards that have the same ability. There is Tom Filth and Pixel Pistol. Both are cheaper and could bring more copies of. X-Sign is way more expensive. He costs 2 more red, and sometimes it could be just a hassle. And Tom Filth is just a very cheap card, very good card overall. And he's a legendary, so it could bring 1. Although his stats is nice, I'm not saying it's not bad. It's bad, but the stat doesn't make up for the cost. And even price for and 650 HP could be way more fragile than you thought it would be. Like you only need a guy who has 700 damage to kill him. So yeah, and and like Tom Filth, Pixel Pistol may be an exception, but Tom Filth, when you play him alone and you target his own, he's actually a fine card. You don't think you waste that much. Like, he's a rare card. You win two of them. When you play X sign, you target himself. It feels like you just waste such like a card, so it feels bad. And you only bring one of them. So and he's a rabbit, so he's probably this leaf. Like under this map, probably this leaf, or maybe he just maybe brother or something. So yeah. So I put him in the mid, uh, lower in the mid tier of B card, and because of that, he's still viable. He's still usable. Fabulous Metaton 123. No longer a legendary, but if I ever rate him, he probably around B plus or A tier. Next, Faith. Faith and Faveria. Faveria, that's how you pronounce her name. Favete. I don't know. An S tier card, mate. The reason why Faith is an S tier card is because mostly whites, so that's good. Because 6 white, 7 whites is a lot, but 6 whites is not too much. 4 reds, you don't need to discard too much of him card to get him, and you cast him. All of your guy instantly become just such god tier. Like, look at him, look at Dragger, and look at Fave. Like, Fave just so much better. Fave just have so much more value. He's good for Swarm, and the stat, and his, even if you play him alone, he's at 1,800 HP, dealing 500 damage. Not the best way to use Fave, but he's fine. Like, that's satisfying. You only need him to play him with like a 5 or maybe something else, like just 2 other card in him, like 2 other big card in him. He just has so much value. That's why I put him S tier, a low S tier, of course. Next, our first trash card. Hey, it's Colin, or is it? Okay, so I put him a low C tier card because, first of all, he costs too much. He's a 5 whites, 4 red. For what he does, that's a lot. And you have a life loss ability, and life loss deck is not the best deck. That's already a drawback. And his ability have a cap, a 1,000 life. I know that should be what it is, because you don't have that cap. Then Voltas and him will just kill, like, just suicidal and make an infinite combo. But he's not as good as Voltas. Voltas is such a good card, but he's not. He only has 600 HP, although he deals a lot of damage. He only has 600 HP. Like, it's just 600. He could be killed so easily. And his ability is not the best in the world. Pretty expensive. Kind of sad. C tier card. Although have a poor skin. Next, Hush Pup is no longer legendary. He's now a epic card that have 1,000 haste. So if he's still legendary, I would rate him around B plus and A too as well. Made all these epic card. Yeah, he used to be so good. Musitive is a no ability legendary card that have it's not too expensive, but he's not the cheapest card in the world. You discard 4 cards to get him, and when you do, he's not the worst. Like, he's a 2. Your opponent must answer him. If they not, like, here's the thing about, hey, it's Colin. It's very expensive, having 600 HP and 1,100 power. This man is kind of cheap, and he also has a threat. He also a threat, but he's expensive. But he's a big threat. Like, you don't answer this guy, he just do a bunch of damage, like 2,000 every turn, mate. That's just a gigantic beat stick. So he's a good card, and he's not expensive. But he's have very low HP, so that's kind of one of that thing that hold him back. But they're all very solid cards, so I put him as a high B tier card. Next, Legacy, the best B tier card. Not it's an accomplishment or something. It's just that he's just another gigantic beat stick for 8 reds. I mean, he one of the thing, like, same thing for a 5. Like, he also in a part of a red control deck. and you could just catch this man instantly stall you for like 1 or 2 turns. It's just so much stat. In insta beat stick, he used to be, I don't know, better maybe, but still, this he's still such an annoying card that so much stat. Like if your opponent don't have any removal to remove him, he just devastate. Next, Muta. This is probably the best B plus card, higher than even the Stalker. I will answer why this thing is higher than the Stalker later. But here's why. Not later. I will answer it now. Muta is used in Lunar deck, aka Action deck, and those decks are a big part of meta now. Even though you're nerf, even though some of the cards are nerf, they're still good. And Fractal is a, and for look at the stat. You could accumulate just this much icon, you get instantly a 600. That's very cheap. And you shuffle the Fractal action. You know what Fractal is? An extreme overpowered action. That's this. It's cost 6 red, 2 white, and 5 red. It gives 6 blue-red action card that could be used, or maybe you just discard to get more, and you get 6 red stuff. Like that's just a lot of tempo. You're lucky enough to draw it like the next turn you play him. He's amazing. So that's why he's above. He's in the meta, and he's here. Nim, like I said before, is a good card. His bread is very good. There's nothing else needed him. He's a decently expensive card. He's not decently expensive, not the most expensive card in the world. And he's bread, so yeah. Also have decent stat for what he does, 500, 700. And his stat technically is a 500 HP at 1400 damage. So that's cool. So yeah, Nim is a high B plus card. Next, 1000 death. So the way I will rate archetype legendaries is I will look the archetype as a whole, and I will rate him. Ninja is not the greatest archetype. Like they're really easy to give wipe, and they have literally no health. Like they have very small amount of health buffs. But the guy himself actually very good. Like he's actually very cheap for what he is. And if you could get a kill, just confirm 1 kill. He's amazing. Like all ninja gain 300 power, pretty cool. But he also affect the enemy, so that's one of the things that just hold him back. So I put him as a like high A tier card because a high B tier card because ninja is not the greatest archetype, but for a card in the archetype itself, he's fine. He's very fine actually. Aussie pick. It's in my opinion a low S tier card, but he's not like A tier or anything. Like he's not going down to A tier anytime soon. It's just he's not as good as 3 of the other cards. First of all, look at his stat. He's a 4 white, 3 red. For a card that have such a overpowered ability and a okay survivability like him, that's good. And his ability is fucking amazing because even you draw into something as useless as like say Colin, just get discarded for permanent base plate thing. And then every time you attack, you give more finishers. Just give you late game. Just feed you more late game. And Red have an okay amount of health buffs to keep this man alive. So let's just see health. Well, I mean not too much. We combo him with some of the other class. He's probably very hard to kill. So he's a good card. Very good. So that's why I'm putting him as a very high S tier, very high tier card. I don't think he should have haste. Haste will make him a bit too strong. Papa Smurf. Here, okay. Look at this ability. If Papa Smurf wasn't glitch, like he wasn't bug, wasn't glitch, wasn't shit, he'll be for me S tier. He'll be the best. He's arguably the best finisher for red. Okay, not maybe not finisher, more like mid-range finisher card. mid-range to finisher card for red. He's an 8 card, 8 cost card that that forces you to use 4 slot of your deck to run this little guy. Using them is not that bad. Like they are actually very decent card, and you could discard all 4 of them. Well, when you draw to Papa Smurf, you just summon this guy. He's an 8 cost card, so he's a bit expensive, but because you are discard 4 of your Darker Blox, you got 4 permanent stuff. You're halfway to this man. So you spend an 8 cost red icon for an approximate of 500 plus 350. You discard all 4 of your Darker Blox, just not 2 or anything. All 4. Plus 350 plus 350 plus 350. 8 reds for us. For board state at 1900 HP and power. That's pretty insane. And plus, at the end of your turn, every Darker Blox will trigger their ability, and then they do 100 damage. 100 times 4 is 400. That means you get a 1900 damage, 1900 health beat stick spread across 5 fighters, so they are both harder and easier to kill, but it's still good. They all generate, so that's instant 5 every turn, 5 rate every turn for you. And at your turn, they do 400 damage. That's just amazing of a card. But here's the thing. He's glitch. When you play him, I don't know what to do. I just do everything. I just discard all 4 of my Darker Bloxer. It's a summon from your base plate, not your deck base plate. I do everything to it, and the only thing you get is a guy play, activate his ability, and do nothing. So he's an 8 red, 500 HP, 500 damage. Yeah, not really that good for me. So he's an instant. He's the worst red legendary for now. Until they fix him, he's here. When he fix, he's probably here, or yeah, here. Not good as Ratchet. Ratchet is the best card in the game. Maybe here. Yeah, could something like, yeah, in the middle of these. So yeah, stay there. Wait till you get fixed, Papa. Next. Pekka Semi. So when you look at her, you may say that her trade-off for her ability is too much. Maybe it's a bit too much, but that thing will not stay there. Because when you play her, you end your turn, you instantly get 750 for 4 red. 4 reds. That insane. And that thing grows every turn. Like that thing gonna grow every turn. Give you more tempo on the field. And although you do lose more icons, you have bring stud with you or maybe an acolyte that could be negated. You should always bring copy of 2 or 3 copies of stud in every deck, in my opinion. So you will make the effect could be negated, and the effect, like the bad thing of the effect could be negated, and the good thing is it's just a fucking amazing of effect. Like even then, when she grow too much, you lose too much icons. They must answer her. If they answer her soon enough, they gotta get advantage on guys. Like they could kill her. But then you get your icon back, starting to get like those white back. You answer her late, they will just have to deal with like such a massive fighter. And although you may have lost a lot of icons by that point, still good. So very high A tier card. Next, Primo Gatto. One of the high A tier cards because it's a good early game. I mean, he's a pressure card. Like, if you don't answer soon enough, he's gonna kill you because his power so much. And they must answer him. Like, first turn, he may not be too intimidating. Second turn, it's starting to be intimidating. And the third turn, is starting to be got. And he's very cheap, 3-1. That's quite good. So, he's a very simple card. That's why he's here. His simplicity make him up to this. Next. I will save this guy for last. Rocky Bow. The best C tier card. Not an accomplishment, by the way. It's not an accomplishment. But at least he's best at something. His ability is fine. It's very fucking fine. It's actually a very fucking trash ability. But it's usable. But thing is, he's a 4 white, 5 reds, 1 green, with only 1000 HP, 800 damage. That's not too much stat for that much cost. And even you replace the enemy ability with this, the wind cast, like the wind cast ability, will stay. And because he replaced all enemy effect with this effect, that means when your opponent end the turn, your guy will have the same effect. So the Stalker, like imagine you play this guy and you have the Stalker in the field. You yourself, you end your turn. They have one guy in the field. They end their turn. So the Stalker, instead of being an amazing card, will just be an absolute trash card. I mean, not trash. I will just take another example of yeah, the Steel Eagle. So he will have no ability in we of 1000 charge HP, 400 damage beat stick. Yeah, it's not really that good, kind of for you, but at least sometimes the build could be very devastating, and you have a lot of wind cast in your deck. He's not this ability really not gonna affect you, and he do put enough stat on the field to help you, so that's why I put him in C tier. Also, I refuse to think this man is a legendary, and if I ever can rate him, because he's not deserved to be a legendary, he's only an epic card, although for good archetype, I'll put him above Ion Heaven. That's what I'll do. He's not deserved to be the legendary. His ability sucks. I refuse to think him as a legendary. Next, Sips. This is a her or he. I don't know if Sips are her or he, so I would just say whatever I want. So Sip, it's internal lock can ensure any obstacle. So I think it's a he, she now because okay, you read the bio. It said that over years passing, Jason and Sif had got together, and in the second bio it said internal lock can destroy any obstacle. So probably a she. So yeah. So she is kind of expensive. Her ability, it's pretty mediocre. Her stats fine, but her ability is so mediocre. Like set health to gain health, it's just such a different thing. And it's set to 1,000, not like it's setting to like 1,200 to 1,500 or anything. No, just set 1,000. 1,000 may seem a lot, but it really isn't. Like it may seem a lot, but you can share how many cards do 1,000 damage or maybe do a lot of damage in this game. She's not the greatest card, but she does have enough stat, and she's reasonably cost. So that's why I put her as a mid B tier card. For that, she's not the worst card in the game, but not even close to the best. Though she, if the way I will fix her is that when I start cast, set health of a target fighter to 1,500 HP aside from this card, like only other card, not herself. Next, because internal love, like love you give to other people, not yourself. Okay, maybe I don't care. Just fix the ability. Next, another bad card. Sakhara, the Dragon Giver. This card would have been good if it only doubles your own ally powers, but it's double both sides. So the only way I could really see her use is that maybe you could use her and then you got so much HP that it doesn't matter. But yeah, and besides, you have to have as many fighters as your opponent. It's not like they have one guy and you have three guys and you play this thing now. Oh, your guy's double powered and now they just kill them. No, it's not like that. You have to have the amount of fighters equal to your opponent, and then she would double power up all fighters. So she is pretty bad, and she's not even that cheap. Like look at her price, she's a 6-1, and she double her power. She has 700. Yeah, that's kind of trash what it is. So I don't think she's that good. The way I will fix her is one. If you control as many, maybe it's like maybe remove the as many as your opponent. It's like if your opponent control less than one fighter or maybe 2 or 3 fighters to you, and then she would do this. I don't know how to fix her. just either remove the control as many or like double your own guy power. Or yeah, she also but she do have extra point for being in the deck that is very cool. That is because you double the power of so much guy. They have so much power now. You might finally have a chance to use this thing. Yeah. So for Brazil is like 50,000 amongst all fighters. You win the game. Yeah, you have enough power. Like they have so much power. Just have enough guy to like cast her and equal your opponent amount of fighters. You could use this thing. I don't know. Maybe that's how she become viable. Not to me. Okay, next. Um, Sub-Zero Extra Bito. I put him as a mid-range B plus card because he's just very simple. Play him, very cheap, 5/3/3, 3 white, 3 red. Attack, give 200 power, just very good. And he doesn't need to survive to attack. Like he just attack, dies, and you skill at least like one value out of him. So at the worst, he's a guy that do 200 damage and give you 200 power. Or the worst, like very worst, he do nothing. He do 200 damage, maybe. So, but it's a cheap card, so he doesn't lose anything. And he's a very good win more card. I put him below this because I don't know. I think this thing should have a little bit more value, and it's way cheaper than this. So yeah, that's why I put him there. The Amazing Man is a good card, but sadly, his ability is not changed or anything. No, it's just that his rarity is now uncommon, so I don't doesn't allow to put him this thing anymore. But if I had to rate him uncommon card, he instantly have an advantage over all of these because actually you bring three of them instead of one. So I put him probably A tier. So yeah, just Cat 22. I put him a low B because he only has 600 HP. He's kind of easy to kill. Well, and he needs to survive being attacked. Like he'll still be killed by spell, like, action, and even Zack attack, like any card. So he get damage. And he doesn't do anything. He doesn't counter attack. He doesn't have any power. Although he's cheap, I must say, he's very cheap. And when he's attacking survives, he's actually starting to become amazing. He becomes too amazing. He's very easily getting young tanded. And if not, then well, he probably he can't counter attack. So yeah, the counter attack kind of kill him, but I don't understand why they put it on. But because of that, low C tier, kind of sad. The Stalker, the definitive red finisher. This thing is like the heart and soul of most red control deck. If you cast this thing, you kind of win the in a mood to win the game. But it's very expensive, doesn't combo well with other class, and is a 10 reds. Like it's very expensive, almost expensive as Iron Heaven is. And he can't counter attack, so they could just spam guys. This guy, they're not gonna take any damage. But ability is just so amazing that's gonna make up for it. So I put him as a B plus card. Under Muta, but maybe for like pure red, like just set up a pure red card, he probably above here, but there's just something that's holding him back. I just don't know. He's probably deserved here. This is probably where he belongs. He A here. I don't know. I mean, the high B tier, high B plus. It's not like low B plus or anything. So yeah, the Steel Eagle. I put the Steel Eagle as a low B plus. Because it's only good in action deck. Like, look at his ability now. It's actually changed. It's like, here, just read it. I was too tired to say. So, you need to play a decent 3 action first before he ever casts his ability. And when you starting to get the ability off, he's starting to become good. And now think about it, action deck is worse now because I've nerfed a lot of the cards. So, he will Stalker will instantly move a tier. And then, move a tier, move a tier, move a tier, move a tier. Yeah, it's still better than this. So yeah. Um, So yeah, he's kind of action deck is not actually not the best now. So that's all I can say. Like he's not the best now. He just sad. His stats too weak for what it is, so I would just put him as a low C. I can't explain why, but just weak now. This is this very long name thingy. I would just came in called MP6. It's actually a very decent. It's just like dwarves and sentry as a whole is not really that good with an archetype. And even when you cast this, you like win the game. Like its ability is kind of mediocre. Although it can't be destroy, it can't be counterattack, or can't be like haste. It doesn't have haste, but it's very expensive. Only have 1000 HP, only have 1000 damage, and like yeah, and still destroyable, still damageable. So then its ability is not the best. Middle C tier. I'm saying it because if someone can use this, it's just an absolute amazing of a card. But because I can't use it myself, I just put it in C tier. Hey, this is my personal opinion anyway. And besides, if you're gonna use it, probably this thing will be an B or an A. Potentially. UAE. I put them as a semi-ish low B because you need to win. Like, you need to have a lot of cards. You have to have 4 more cards in your hand to get those. And the only way he used to be useful is that your opponent have no card left. Like, maybe, I know, your opponent have no guys left on the field. Like, you're supposed to have nothing else on the field. And then you play this thing, can become amazing. Cause like, you're always going to have more tempo than they are. And you have 8 red. And you always have got something gen. And you still draw a card. And they just get this card in hand. So, yeah, there goes Smurfing. And he can't destroy. So, they cannot Razutix him to the Ice Age. And he's kind of expensive. But he's a 2 white, 8 red. So, he's not the best. Well, and he do have a very decent stat. 1,800, 800. It's a very decent. It's just that there's a lot of things that go right to him in order to be good. And he looks like that he's gonna become an epic soon. Cause look at his border. He's a red now, not a gold. So yeah, he should not even make this list. I put him. Yeah, just kidding. He's still a legendary. He'll count as one. Okay, moving to the last. Otoroy's Tenbare. This card's weird. Like, you could give him a lot of board state, and it used to be at 300 and 300, but now it's 250 and 250. So it gets, yeah. But this card's fine. Like, it's actually a lot. Oh, it's actually cheaper now. So 10 white icon, 2 red icon. Yeah. So it's a 10 white, 2 red. Get instant board state. Provide 2 guy. They both generate. So it's actually a very decent card. It's just that there's a lot of card that's better than him. But he's still high. He's still high B plus. He's still middle B plus card. So yeah, that's where he stay. Good card overall. Not bad. Voltas, another S tier card, and I'll explain why. Red control is a very good deck. And if you could just wipe your opponent, this man just can draw your card. Yes, you'll lose 300 life, and yes, sometimes it could be a hassle. But he's just amazing card overall, and he's pretty cheap. Like, he's a 4 white, 5 red. Getting 5 red is not the hardest thing in a red control deck, and 4 white is a very small amount cost for the stat he provides. 1,600 HP is most of the time better than 600 to 1,200. Okay? And his ability is actually decent. Like, he's actually draw you that card instantly. Like, don't need effect. So he's actually very nice of a card. He used to be like very trash because it made him lose 600 life, but not 300 life. He's amazing. But if you want to make him even better, like do the same thing to Celestial Key too as well. Like when you have the effect will stop, like it will stop doing this card will stop doing the effect, its effect, if you have 0 card left in your deck. So he wouldn't be the worst card in the game when it comes to Fatigue battle, because you will get draw and you lose 300 life too as well. So and do the same thing to Seleteshki. That at the end, like a Seleteshki, all forms will at the end of the turn draw you an extra card. Yeah. Except for the blue form. Blue form with already 2. Yeah, do it like when you have 0 card left in your deck. It will stop doing the effect entirely. So yep, that's Voltas. Next, Bloxy Victory. I put it as a low B plus because I think it's just better than most other cards, but it's not really better than any of the Volp cards. I put it there. It's a good finisher card. I mean, do wipe yourself a bit, but if you can pull it off, it's just an amazing card. It just gives so much power, but it's a bit expensive, 5 red. So you could use this card. You're gonna feel bad. Not even gonna feel bad when you discard a card. So he's here. He's good. Next, Burning Soul Blade. You could cast this thing. It's basically like a wipe, like a mini wipe. And it's for red. Like if red have so much power, and when they get swapped, their power should become health, and they have so much health. And because it's so also increase all health by 400 swap, they actually still have a decent amount of power left. That's not all. It's actually very cheap. Like look at this card. It may seem expensive, but it's actually way easier to pull off than you thought it would be. And it's actually a pretty decent card for action deck. Actually a very good card, and not necessarily use it in an action. I just use it in like a blue-red hybrid, and that's good enough. It's just gonna harm their guys most of the time, so it's such a good card. Hatred outlives the hateful. See, even the card agreed. Next, Eye of Heaven. Meme card. Not gonna talk much about it. It's actually better than Papa Smurf in this state of Papa because he glitch. So yeah, Has is a viable card. That's all I'm gonna say. He's a viable card. Action deck. He instantly gives you guys 100 power and technically have 700 HP and 700 power, 750 power. So he's very good. He's 6 red, so he's kind of a bit expensive, but he's good for what he is. No, say much. And the last, I leave the best for the last. Rack Jumper, or was a wrecked jumper. This thing is so this should still be a legendary. It still should be a legendary. It should always be a legendary. Not epic, a legendary. Stats, just don't care about. It's basically this man, not Asian Bloxer. Asian Bloxer entire card, entire other card. I don't like that. I like the coolness of this guy. It's this guy, but on crack, like on very high crack. Only affect both sides on destroy fires, but it's got just OTK your opponent most of the time if they have low enough health. Like this thing just very good, very overpowered for what it is. I use it in all of my red deck most of the time unless I don't want to, and even put a guy on the field. And the end of turn, don't care about it. Like you spend 8 red. Like what are you gonna do after you spend 8 red? Nothing, right? Most of the time. So yeah, because you already spent 8 red, like 8 red and 3 whites. Like at that point, you just end the turn already. Just all end the turn for you, and you look menacing. And the bile, yeah, the bile just sum it all up. So, in my opinion, the best red card in the game. No argue for me. Okay, so that is the tier list for all red legendary in the game. Comment down below what you want to see next, and please leave a like because I need to know how many people that actually watch my video. Like I really do know how much of them watch my video because they like me, or is that they're just my relatives. I need to know. So yeah, subscribe maybe. If I ask, can I just at least do it, please? So not gonna ask anymore. Have a nice day. Goodbye.